Hello and welcome to the first ever Texas Tech Depth Chart Reveal, brought to you by Reliant. I'm Robert Giovanetti, joined by the head coach, Joey McGuire. Coach, we're going to show everybody the depth chart today, and after a hard, well thought out fall camp.
Yeah, it was, this is my 29th year, and just couldn't be more excited about getting through with camp. To get to a game, because there's a lot of expectation on this team. There's a lot of energy, and it was a great camp. I mean, I felt like that we grew as a team. The chemistry's there, and there was some really great battles for as far as we talk about getting on the plane to go to Wyoming. There's been some really good battles trying to make that depth chart.
When you go into a camp, are there some question marks in your mind too that go, I can't wait to see how this plays out?
Yeah, there was a couple of positions. The thing this year versus last year is the known. There's so much more known. We have so many guys coming back that have played college football, right. And so we kind of know going through spring, but really love seeing the freshmen come in. We've got some freshmen on the depth chart. So I'm really excited about them. And then there was some guys that just have grown, that had great summers, that put themselves in really good positions, not only to be in the 2 deep, but, to be on special teams and make an impact in games.
I remember all back in May, I said to a group, hey, I can't wait for the start of football season, the Wyoming game. And you're like, hey, Joe, we got a lot of work to do between now and then. At that point now, you're close to saying, all right, let's line it up.
Yeah, I'm ready. I mean, we hit a wall, and not in a bad way, but we hit a wall Tuesday to where you could see, Coach, this is time to go play somebody else. You get to a point, college football is the one unique level of football. I mean, if you think about it, 2 weeks ago and last week, the high school football teams got to scrimmage another team. I mean, we've watched NFL preseason for the last couple of weeks. College, I mean, you're starting right off the bat with game one, and you've been hitting each other. And so our guys are ready to really get into a game week and prepare for opponent. We did some Wyoming stuff this week, to give us an extra week on those guys, but we're ready to go hit somebody else. All
right, with that being said, let's get to the defense. Here is the defensive depth chart, again, brought to you by Reliant. We've talked a lot, we'll hear this word a lot, depth. Look at the defensive line.
Yeah, the one thing last year, we had the two main guys with Tony and Boog, and then there was not a lot of depth behind them. You had young guys, or you had some guys that hadn't played a lot. And this year, I think it's totally opposite. Whenever you look at the defensive line, the interior defensive line, I feel really good about going 6 deep. I'm of course excited about the old guys, but Duda Banks had a really good bowl game. He's grown. We're able to add Quincy Ledet, and then Trey McAlpin. He was a freshman last year for us. He's going to be a redshirt freshman this year, and I'm excited to see him. He has really grown every single day in practice. Then you got the old guys; they're ready to go.
And again, bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah, I think you'll see that, especially the strength with those guys. I mean, we stopped Boog at 500 pounds on the bench. It's like, hey, you've done enough. 700-plus pound squat. Hey, there's no reason to load you anymore. And so I think you're going to see that show up in games.
All right, talk about the linebackers again. And we've heard you talk a lot about them, and again, a lot to like there.
Yeah, so start with the outside linebackers. That's an extremely talented room. It's probably the most talented room, in our building when you're talking about guys with length and speed. You have Miles Cole and Steve Linton, who've really had great springs and great camp. But then you add some young guys, man. You're talking about Joseph Adedire, who played as a freshman. Now he's a true sophomore. Isaac Smith, who really came on at the end of the year. You add back Bryce Ramirez back in that room, and so that's going to be huge, just his spirit and the way how hard he plays. And then you turn around, Charles Esters. I've been really proud of him. He had a great summer.
Would you have ever thought in that North Carolina game last year on our way home, leave Bryce behind because in the hospital we'd see his name right here on this depth chart?
No, not game one.
Right.
I thought that he would definitely have a chance because there was of course, bone damage, but the nerves and everything like that, but not game one. I mean, it's a testament to our trainers, our team doctors, and then, of course, his will to fight his way back. And so I'm excited, man. He's been in 2 live scrimmages, and he's felt great, and so I'm excited to see him play. And since we're sticking with the linebackers, those are the outside guys. The inside guys, that's the group that has a lot of talent, not a lot of experience. So we're starting out. We've moved Josiah Pierre back inside, Jacob Rodriguez. So those are our Mike and Will. They've had great camps, great chemistry together. They're those vocal leaders on that defense, and they have to be. And then you got Ty Matthews. You've got Ben Roberts, another redshirt freshman that's really come on. And then the young freshman, Mr. Dingle, Michael Dingle. I think you're going to see him some. And then Wesley Smith. So, again, good depth in that room. The experience is not there, but, I think that those guys are ready to play and prove that that's a good linebacker room. Really
a great mixture across the board of veterans and new guys and young guys, and the same in the secondary as well.
Yeah, that's a fun group because you have, you've got 3 guys that started last year for us. Whenever you talk about Rabbit at field safety, that free safety, you talk about the 2 corners with Malik Dunlap and Rashad Williams. And then Tyler Owens, you add him as the boundary safety. He started against Ole Miss, played great last year for us, played great on special teams. But then you add C.J. Baskerville in the mix at Star, who started last year at San Diego State. Another guy that I'm really excited for the Red Raiders to see is Mr. Lux at corner, because he's pushing both those guys. I mean, like we have 3 starting corners. Like, you look up out there, and Tim DeRuiter doesn't care who's in the game. I mean, Lux, Williams, and Dunlap, they're all very interchangeable. You're going to see our dime package really take a step forward this year against teams that like to spread it out and throw the football. But then there's youth. We've got 3 freshmen that are listed on the 2 deep. They're mid-year freshmen. Whenever you look at Jordan Sanford at boundary safety, you look at Chapman Lewis at field safety, and then you look at P.J. Jordan at Star. It's a little bit different. They are freshmen, but they were mid-year, so they went all the way through spring. They've had a weight room in January. They had a weight room in the summer. They've gone all the way through camp, stayed healthy, and so those guys are ready to play. And then a good West Texas boy, Joseph Plunk, out of Amarillo, Tascosa. He's one of the guys that he's the coach back there for me. He holds everybody together. And so feel good about the secondary, feel good about, really feel good about the defense as far as what we have and how athletic we are.
All right, that's a look at the defense. Now how about the special teams? Again, guys often overlooked, but when you got a problem there, all of a sudden everyone wants to know about them.
Well, anytime I recruit specialists, I always tell them there's no coach that's going to love you more. Number one, most specialists are a little strange. I'm a little strange, and so we get along really well. But if you think about that position, I mean, you have one mess up and everybody, it's the end of the world, because usually that's a play that affects the game. Gino Garcia's had a great camp. We were trying to do a tidal wave, which is we're practicing basically the Alabama-Auburn play, where it's a deep field goal and they return it. If you remember, we call it tidal wave. And we're trying a 60-yarder, expecting it to come up short, and Gino drilled it with probably another 10 yards. And so we clapped it up, broke it. We didn't even work the drill because we were so excited he made the 60-yarder.
That's pretty good.
He's looked great. Reese Burkhalter has come in, transfer from UAB, has done a great job for us. He's our kickoff guy, has put the ball in the back of the end zone consistently. Our deep snapper, Knox, has done an absolutely phenomenal job. He's a social media sensation whenever we started off.
Oh, yeah, he was the star.
I call the special teams the Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's Star-Lord, if anybody follows that. And so he does a great job, and this is going to be his 3rd year starting for us. And then you turn around and you've got the best punter in the country. Mac is just incredible. And it's crazy to say that he could be better, but he really is. I mean, he's made huge improvements in his game. And so we feel really strong about that room and feel like, it's again one of the strengths of the team.
And as far as you got a lot of guys, a lot of options as returners as well.
We do. You're going to start off with Miles Price returning punts. He's a guy that we want the ball in his hand as much as possible. So does he. I know that's shocking, but Miles wants to touch the football, and so that's another way for him to touch the football. But, Xavier White can be back there. He's done a great job during camp. And then our return guy is going to start off is Jordan Brown. If you remember, he had a big return against Oklahoma. He had a big return against Ole Miss. He's really taken that job serious. We'll talk about him here in a minute on offense, but he's done a great job. And off returner, you've got Taj Brooks, you got Cameron Valdez. But another guy that will be back there that you're going to see is Dre McCray. And how I describe Dre is speed. He's got a lot of it. And so we feel really good with the returners.
All right, let's go over and look at the offense. You mentioned this at the kickoff luncheon. Tyler Shuck, very confident. You're like, hey, if I was behind that offensive line, I'd be confident too, right? Again, a lot of depth.
Yeah, a lot of depth, a lot of experience. Yeah. I don't know if there's more starts in college football than what we have in our offensive line, and that's the total opposite of last year. If you think last year we started off the game and Caleb Rogers and Weston Wright were the only two that did ever started games for us, and you look at the other three and they never started a game, not only in our uniform but in any uniform when it came to college football. And now you have 9 of the 10 in the depth chart or on the depth chart of the offensive line that has started college football. And so we feel like that's going to be one of our strengths. It's been definitely a strength during camp. I'm really excited. If you ask me one thing, what are you excited to see against Wyoming? I'm really excited to see the growth of our offensive line because Wyoming's defensive line is really good. Like that's what they hang their hat on, their defensive line and their effort they play with. And so this is going to give us a good test on exactly where we're at and how we have to get better because we're going to get better every single week. And so I'm excited about those guys.
Again, fans really always interested in the tight end, and again, a lot of options there at tight end.
Yeah, my mom always says if you want to win, throw it to the tight end. And whenever we do and we score, she said, I told you, son. And Cochran tells me that too. We've got really good depth. We have 4 guys that we feel great. They're different, 2 that are more of your on the ball, true tight end, and then you've got 2 that are more off the ball. So when people see Mason Tharp, they're going to see a different human being. Whenever I got here, he was 6'9", and he weighed somewhere between 229 and 230 something, like 33. He's a different human. He's still 6'9", but he's 270 to 271 pounds.
Massive.
He is a massive human. Probably the best camp guy that on our team as far as growth. He's just been amazing. I told him, and I coached tight ends at this level for 2 years, and I told him, I said, I don't know if I've seen more growth in a player, especially at the tight end position. So I'm really excited about him. Baylor Cupp, whoever's out there is out there. I mean, they are 1A, 1B. He's done a great job. Excited about what he does. And then we've got Henry Teeter. He's kind of the old guy of the group.
He's been around a long time.
He has. I call him Coach Teeter because, he's the backbone of really a lot of the stuff we do offense. And then the guy that's really shown up is Jaden York. And Jaden's had he had a really good spring, great summer, but man, his physicality has really shown up in camp. Big special teams guy for Kenny Perry. And so that tight end room's a strong room.
When you say Tharp has had the best camp, what exactly have you seen that has changed the most with him? Well,
you take away, to me, his pass catching ability because, number one, it's hard to miss a 6'9" target, and he's got great hands. He's a natural ball catcher. But where he's really improved is his run blocking, and then, some of the stuff that we like to do, whether it be with a tight end or with a running back, is we want to make sure we're helping our tackles out. I mean, part of calling a game, depending on who you're playing, is helping the offensive line out. Right. Not just hanging them out, leaving them on an island. And man, I'm telling you, he has grown tremendously as a pass blocker. And so really excited to what he does. And he's facing 2 to 3 of the best, I think, outside linebackers that you can face. And he's holding his own, if not winning a lot of battles. And you don't see tight ends have the ability to do that. And so I think that's going to help us offensively.
All right, talk about the rest of the receiving core and what you like there.
Man, once again, I mean, you start going through that receiving core, and it's like the O-line. You've got a number of guys that have started. The 2 main guys that jump off the page are Miles and Bradley. Those 2 guys are kind of the bell cow. If you look at the numbers, I think we had 5 guys that caught 30 or more balls last year, but those are the 2 main guys. They've had really good camps. I think you're going to see their leadership. Bradley's really changed his body. Last year he was like 220 plus. He's actually, if you look at him now, leaned up a little bit, so I think he's faster. But both of those guys have good spring. I call Loic kind of the key to the Ferrari because he's got incredible speed, and he really can make everybody play you honest, because sometimes you can roll coverage to those other guys. You can't do it when Loic's on the field. He's got really good speed, and he's improving tremendously as a receiver. Jordan Brown is a guy that has shown up and found his place on the 2 deep, not just on special teams. Last year was primarily special teams. Jordan's really shown up, and that's huge for us because he can play inside and outside, and so we love that. And then you got the 2 West Texas guys. You got Xavier White and Nehemiah Martinez. You're going to see them lined up everywhere. I'm telling you, they're going to be in all outside, inside. You're going to see them in the backfield. They're very similar skill set wise. They've got rush skills whenever the ball's in their hand, and so excited about that group. Really excited about that group. Again,
looking at experience in the backfield, you got running backs.
Yeah.
A lot of experience back there.
Well, it starts out with Taj's time.
Right.
It's Brooks' time all the time. And then, another guy that has really changed his body, that's bought into what we asked them to do, to be pros and start really thinking about your nutrition, not just how much you weigh, but how you got there or how you took some off. And so you're going to see that. But right behind him, I'm excited with Cameron because he's giving you a different back. Mm-hmm. He's a one-cut vertical runner, 0 to 60, like my Corvette, man. I mean, telling you, he goes in a hurry. And so you have 2 really good backs that complement each other in different ways than Sharadrick and Taj did. So I think that's going to make it tough on the defense. And then you got some young backs behind them. Bryson Donnell, the Red Raiders know him because he got to play a little bit last year as a freshman. Really solid backup, and he's found his way on special teams. And that's what we ask him to do, man. If you're going to make the depth chart, make the travel squad, you've got to be able to play on special teams. If you're not a number 1 draft pick, and most number 1 draft picks too, but if you don't play quarterback, offensive line, if you can't start on special teams, you're not going to be able to play in the NFL. We tell them that all the time, and we show them proving it by people, that are making teams in the NFL. If you can't start on special teams, and so the young guys have really shown up on special teams also.
All right, let's finish out with the guy that's gotten a lot of attention, the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been really frustrated with the national media, but, hey, we just got to go out and prove it. I mean, I don't think our guys get enough credit. And I think they forget how highly recruited they were. We're not talking about dudes that were 2 stars and 3 stars.
These guys
both these guys were highly recruited coming out of high school. And so, I always get frustrated. I usually DM somebody about it because I think we have the best quarterback room, and it's proven. So you turn around and, our backup's Baron Morton, and man, we saw what he did last year, and he's a perfect fit for this offense. And, I tell him every day, you're taking a snap preparing to go win against Wyoming. You're taking a snap to go and prepare to win against Oregon. So I'm trying to get his mindset there, and he's doing it. But the guy that really leads this offense right now is Tyler Shuck. Tyler, man, I'll tell you, I got to coach 2 dudes. One was a 2nd-round draft pick, one was a 3rd-round draft pick, Terrell Bernard and Jalen Petrie. I've never seen guys at the college level prepare like they do for games until I got around Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck is a pro. He's in that building as much as any coach, anybody that's there trying to get ready to have a great senior year. And so it's a lot of fun to have that guy on your team. And man, people are rallying him around him, and he'll be our leader.
Yeah, you can just tell he's got that swagger about him.
Yeah.
He walks and talks and acts like a leader.
Yeah, and he's got something to prove, and love people like that. That kind of have a little something, a little bit more grit about them. That I'm gonna prove people wrong.
All right, well, stop hitting each other. Well, it's game week.
Yeah,
it's finally
it
here.
is, man. We can't wait. We cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. This has been your Reliant Depth Chart Reveal. Game 1 this Saturday against Wyoming.